today, we can bring all that massive amount of information into simple ways of visualizing the ultimate outcome for our customers.
All the products themselves tie well together. So it's really transformed us tremendously up to our business level decision makers that have information at their fingertips in real time.
We at Sandvik Coromant are really excited how Dynamics 365 brings all the systems together. With this solution, we're able to reinvent the art of manufacturing.
Advanced analytics help us avoid costly downtime and delays. With early notice, our team can proactively have parts at the right place and time, reducing inventory costs and maximizing availability.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Christy Spokely, eXtreme365.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to eXtreme365. Did everybody have a great time last night? Raise your hand, clap your hands. All right, well, we had a great dinner I really enjoyed with some of our executive exchange members. My name is Christy Spokely, and I, along with Microsoft and many of you within the community, produced this event. I'm a 30-year veteran within the business applications industry, and in my entire career, I've always had a passion for partners. And that is why I'm very excited to be welcoming you to eXtreme365 this year, the 15th iteration of a conference that was launched in 2010. This conference could not happen without so many of you within the partner community and within the Microsoft Dynamics 365 community. We are fortunate to have Microsoft represented both across the One Commercial Partner team, as well as the R&D and corporate and enterprise team. But in addition to Microsoft, this community extends so much further. There are so many people who are here who are going to contribute to the experience that you're going to have over the next few days, and I need to say a sincere thank you. We have business experts and consultants. We have executives from practices that have contributed. We have technical experts, ISVs, sponsors, and MVPs who you're all going to engage with here over the next couple days, and they are going to be the ones that are going to make this experience unique and differentiating in your life. So I want to thank each and every one of you who are contributing to the event. We all come together for a single purpose, and that's for all of us to be able to embrace and adopt the rapid pace of change that we're all experiencing. And boy, have we had some change. It was last July that we were sitting at a Microsoft conference, and Satya Nadella announced the rebranding of Dynamics 365. And Joe and I were sitting next to each other, and we looked at each other and said, okay, time to make some changes. And we understood that the channel needed to adapt to this new branding, and we needed to change our conference to really serve the channel. And so we announced last year in Newport Beach our new branding to eXtreme365. And that set upon us a journey and an evolution that's been going on in the last year, which is exciting. It's a huge opportunity, but to be quite frank, we're all going through change, and it can be painful. It's rapid, and it's happening quickly, and there's unknowns, and it's painful. And so that's why this year we really set the theme around change and evolution. That's really what we're all about this year. And I'm really excited because we have a great speaker, Sid Mahasab, who is an expert. He's an author, he's a professor, and he is going to talk to us about change and evolution. He's going to ask us to think differently about our businesses. He's going to ask us to embrace change versus fear it. And he is going to be one of our keynote speakers following the product roadmap. So I'm really excited. So make sure you come back and listen to Sid this morning. So with that, we need to level set. We need to understand where is Microsoft today and where are they going in the future. And so I'm really excited to bring to you today the product vision roadmap. And with that, I'm very excited to be introducing our keynote speaker, a technical fellow at Microsoft. Mike Ehrenberg, I met in 2003. He had recently come to Microsoft shortly after our company had been acquired by Microsoft. And when I met Mike, I knew right away he was going to have a significant impact on the product, and he really has. In addition to being a super smart guy, he is also a great guy. And so I hope each and every one of you get a chance to meet him while he's here. And with that, I would like to invite Mike up to the stage to get us going. Thank you. Right over there.
Thanks everybody. Thanks to the eXtreme team for putting this event on. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to all of you that are taking the time to spend with us. And thanks also to the online audience, because we're streaming this, and I'm told with the online audience that it's the largest audience ever for an event like this. So that's the last political joke, sorry. So, in any case. I absolutely want to make sure to just extend to my thanks to the whole community. Ron talked yesterday about the fact that Microsoft is partner first, and nowhere is that more true than in Dynamics. You are our business, and so thank you for everything that you do there. So we're going to talk this morning about what's driving what we do and what I think is actually positioning Microsoft and Dynamics kind of to be the strongest player in the market that we face today. And we'll keep staying on this theme of transition and transformation and change. And the thing that's important is to understand that it starts with the changes that our customers are going through. This is not something that we're sort of pushing. The customers are changing. That's demanding different products from us, and it's demanding a different go-to-market from us together, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's start with an understanding of kind of what that transformation is that's going on amongst our customers. And it's happening in every industry. You've got digital delivery that's changing education. You've got Amazon turning retail on its head. You've got manufacturers that are reaching around their traditional distribution channel to make a direct connection with their customers. And it's enabling them to do business in different ways. We like to talk a lot about what's going on in the automotive industry because it's the easiest one to sort of understand the way this transformation happens. And really, I'm starting with a look at Uber, because all these industries are different. But if we look at the pattern that's driving the transformation and what it means about what we have to do, the pattern is pretty consistent. Uber is, it's changing the way we get around. And if you look forward and look at what will happen as technology like autonomous driving connects with that, it's going to disrupt entire industries. The way cars are made, sold, rented, all are going to change because of what's happening here. And just to sort of put the change in perspective, a few years ago, the two most important things you could teach your kids: never talk to a stranger on the internet, never get in a stranger's car. Now we have a $15 billion company whose whole premise is find a stranger on the internet, tell them to come pick you up in their car. That's change, right? So, and it's a joke, but there is an aspect of the people need to be ready for the change as well. But let's actually drill in and sort of look at what drove the change, and it starts with inefficiency. And so if you go back at the beginning, what Uber started from was the limo and town car companies had fleets that were scaled to handle their peak, New Year's Eve, prom season. But they didn't have a very good way to keep those cars full and keep the drivers employed during the rest of the day. And that's not even touching the inefficiency of thinking about all of our personal cars and how much time they spend parked in our home garage or at work. So we have this huge inefficiency, and that's what created the opening. And what they did is they attacked that with a set of technologies. It starts with the cloud. The next thing was connection through the mobile device, building a direct connection to their end customer. Then the next ingredient is data. So it's all the data that makes up the maps, the data about driver and customer identities, the data about customer preferences, and then it was intelligence. It was the intelligence that allowed them to map and connect an available car with a demand for a ride. And so you had this inefficiency that created the opportunity, and then it was the combination of cloud, connection, data, and intelligence that let them build something that, in fact, created a better experience in the end. It's easier to go say, I want to ride now from where I am to there, than it is to think about getting my car, driving, having to park. And so they've gone and basically, through the opportunity created by inefficiency, using cloud, connection, data, and intelligence, they've created a better experience. And that's what creates that whole thing. And if you look around, you'll see that's the pattern that we see repeated over and over again. And that's what drives sort of the conversation that we start with, and that's shaping all of our product investment and our roadmap direction around this idea of digital transformation. How can we build the things that let a company take their data, take their connection to their customers, apply intelligence, and build better experiences and become more efficient by empowering their employees to be smarter, engaging their customers better, actually driving optimization into how they do everything that they do, and even, in fact, transforming the products that they offer to customers. Just that transformation from a product to a service. I don't buy a car, I get a ride as a service, right? And so it's this pattern over and over again that we look at when we talk about digital transformation, and it's important to understand that it's software and data that drive and power that transformation, and that's what's creating the amazing opportunity that we all have together. And if we could drive slide transformation, there we go, okay. So, one of the things that obviously is super important is to think about what are the ingredients you need to build the new kinds of software that let customers take advantage of digital transformation. And, go back to just sort of the conversation about Uber, but it starts with the cloud. And for the customers that we deal with, I need a cloud that's global and that's trusted, and that's Azure. I need an amazing data platform that lets me keep the sort of structured data that we're all used to in SQL, but also understands the unstructured data and the big data. It needs to be able to hold and manage all of those data assets and let us work with them, honoring the rules that we need based on what country the business is operating in. And that's an increasingly important commitment for us. On top of that, it's cognitive services. This is the machine learning, the AI. It's the stuff that lets you take that data and then generate insight out of it. And this is a really important thing to focus on as we think about what our opportunity is together. Every business application vendor is suddenly out there talking about their AI assets. AI is not just another, machine learning, not just another sort of scripting language that you can have your developers learn. It's different. It's a science. And I have to honestly believe that because I just finished paying for my son's master's degree in artificial intelligence, so I have to believe there was a value in that. But AI at Microsoft is different. It's machine learning and AI that make Bing work, that make Cortana work, that lets Skype do simultaneous translation. I don't know how you're streaming this meeting, but if we were doing it through Skype, people could be listening in whatever language they wanted to, right? And in real time. And so Microsoft has an amazing heritage in machine learning and AI. And when we bring those things into our business application solutions, it's not us learning something new so that we can kind of use a buzzword out in our advertising. It's us collaborating with the world experts that have done AI and machine learning at Microsoft for all this time. And so it's an amazing advantage for us. On top of that, you need the actual applications. Where do people work? And the thing that's very, very important to remember, and we'll see this morning as we look at some of the things that we're going to demonstrate, people work in their business application, but an amazing amount of work still gets done in productivity and collaboration tools like email. And we'll see how together the fact that we have both Office 365 and Dynamics 365 gives us the signal of what people are working on in order to build these solutions. And then finally, that ability to make the solutions precisely fit what a customer needs, whether that's through your ISV extensions that come to them through AppSource, or through the new things that we're making possible with our Power Apps, Power Platform, to get that last mile of extensibility. You get that sort of the final transformation when people can really get the software to precisely fit what they're trying to do in their business. And we'll show you a couple of exciting things that we're doing there as well. And so in order to deliver the kinds of solutions people need, you need all the ingredients here. And I think we'll come back to this at the end. But if you think about it, there's only one company on the planet that is investing at scale in every ingredient in this picture, and that's Microsoft. And that's why we feel so positive about the opportunity that exists for all of us around Dynamics and around our solutions for digital transformation. So let's dig in a little bit and take a look at what we're doing with Dynamics 365 and what we think is different. So our world, the world of business applications, looked like this. Big suites of CRM, big suites of ERP. And none of that came from things that mattered to customers. There's two things that you should see here. One is large suites, not point solutions, and the other is kind of a wall between CRM and ERP. The large suites, that's a reflection of just sort of the physics of on-premise software. It was always easier to add something to an existing product and make it bigger than it was to address a new process by building something else and trying to tie them together. That's not necessarily true anymore, but that was certainly the state in the on-premise world, and that's why the suites got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the separation of ERP and CRM, that was a competitive issue. The big ERP players were sort of busy finishing what they'd already bitten off with finance and operations. And new people, Siebel, Salesforce, popped up, and presto, we have two different categories, two different Gartner reports, two different Extreme conferences. Everything sort of got polarized and separated around these big piles, and none of it had anything to do with what was good for the customer. And so the first thing that we did with Dynamics 365 was say we're going to break down that barrier between ERP and CRM, and by committing to actually do the integration so that processes flowed from where they started potentially in sales through operations where they got fulfilled, and then eventually close the loop and come back in terms of letting the salespeople understand the picture of what was now going on with their customer. We brought things together. The second piece, and this is really what we're driving now, is, and this is critical in a world of digital transformation, we want to let people start where they need to start and not need to bring in a large suite. If you have a customer that wants to transform their field service operation, saying, that's great, I can help you, by the way, it comes with CRM, would you please replace your entire CRM suite so that we can go fix your field service? That doesn't play. People don't have time to do that. They don't have the assets to do that. And so we want things to work together, but we want people to be able to start with the part that they want. We want to make it easy to buy just what you want, implement just what you want, and get value from just what you want. And so we focus on being able to deliver along the pillars within a business that sort of align with their process areas. And you can even see it typically in their org charts. There's probably a leader with a C in front of their title that goes with each one of these: a chief marketing officer, a chief sales officer, a chief customer officer, COO, CFO, chief people officer. And we want to have a value prop for every one of those. And let's start with talent, just because that's the one that's, in terms of things that we're shipping today, the closest to this picture that we want to be able to deliver for every one of these pillars. And so it starts with the core HCM. And historically, for people that were in the Dynamics AX community, that was never a strength for us. We've invested a ton in order to have a great core to take advantage of being mobile and browser-based so we can really reach employees and managers where they want to do their work. And so it starts with a strong core. We've looked at sort of what is the real challenge in talent today. And if people focus, it's all about finding and attracting and then making successful the people that I'm trying to hire. And so we're building a set of modular apps, and we've shipped the first 2 of those, which is Attract and Onboard. And those pick up right from where we start with LinkedIn Recruiter. So LinkedIn Recruiter lets you find people. Attract lets you drive a super effective hiring process. And then Onboard lets you take those people you've hired and make them productive right away. And then we're continuing that out. The next set of things we'll talk about. Shipping will be our performance management, learning, and we'll go all the way through succession planning. So we're building and if we look at customers that we talk to, and we even look at ourselves and what LinkedIn had internally, people do these processes in a completely ad hoc way. They're doing things through email and Excel, and we know we can deliver a better experience. It matters to them because when candidates look at a potential employer today, they're forming an impression in their mind about what it's like to work at that company from how the hiring process goes. If I get told I have to fax in a resume and then I have to go through 9 phone calls to get an interview scheduled, I'm not coming in a good frame of mind. If we can make that experience great, we're helping people land great talent. Onboarding, usually it's Christy talked about when we met. I did come to Fargo very early in my career at Microsoft, but I'll start with my first week. Satya was running Dynamics R&D at that time, and I worked for him. And on a Thursday of that week, we had a briefing with Bill Gates. And so my onboarding was, while still with a visitor's badge, I worked 2 all-nighters with the team the first 3 days that I was there to get ready for the meeting with Bill. We had a successful meeting with Bill. Friday, I had my first one-on-one with Satya, and he said, by the way, I'm leaving for 6 weeks on vacation. I hope you'll be okay. So that was my onboarding. I actually, I started on a Tuesday, so I didn't even get to go to the onboarding meeting, which is on Mondays at Microsoft, right? And so, the ability to get people and get them connected and comfortable and productive and successful is a huge challenge for people, and that's the focus of what we're doing with our onboarding app. The next piece, come on, I know what it says. There we go. The next piece that will actually ship in the beginning of calendar 18 is a Talent Insights app. So think of this as an analytical app that brings together all the data from the apps that we're building, as well as other data about talent in the marketplace. Where am I hiring from? Where are my successful hires coming from? How am I doing against my diversity goals? When people leave my company, where are they going? And really giving that chief people officer a complete and total picture of what's going on with their talent, with their world of talent. And all these pieces work together. So when we go compete for talent and to that chief people officer, we want to go in with this full picture. We want to win the entire thing. And it's interesting, we're starting to see with customers that are bought into Dynamics and the Microsoft vision, that they're stopping looking at other talent packages. And honestly, a year ago, that was not the competitive situation. So we feel very, very strongly that this is landing. But the other thing that we're doing with this, which is we think very important, is the modular apps and the insights apps are being designed to work not just with our talent core, but with any talent core. And so if we're unable to win in a competitive situation to get the whole thing, where before that would have been the end of the conversation, Now we have the opportunity to say, no, you can use these with your existing core. You don't have to rip your core out. You can get the new modular processes, drive the transformation, in this case in your hiring and talent development. And later we'll come back and have the conversation about the core. So the important thing was to sort of open up that other door. That's not just something that where we're talking the talk, but we're also walking the walk. Microsoft uses SAP for its core HR. And we have amazing activity deploying the modular apps already and helping people do a better job ripping out stuff that was done through custom IT built apps, things in Excel, things in Outlook, to get the benefits on top of the other core. So it's a combination of a stronger offering all up and a value prop for that chief people officer, but also the potential, if we can't have the full conversation now, to come back in and come in with the modular apps and then fight to have the conversation another day with a stronger foothold in place. It's all tied together, and we go back to sort of the premise of digital transformation around a common data substrate. And the important thing that you see here is it's not just the data from the Dynamics apps that's part of that substrate, but it's the data we get from Office 365, and it's the data we get from LinkedIn. And so each one of these apps we feel is better because of signal we're bringing in either from Office or LinkedIn. And I'll just talk a little bit about onboarding for 2 seconds. We're gonna take a look at it later. But think about a new employee the first time they go to their onboarding page, and they get presented with, here's 5 people on your team that you should know. Here's 5 people that went to school with you that are here that you should know. Here's 5 people you worked with before that are here. And the first part of that we get from the core. The rest of it we get from LinkedIn. And in terms of, we can even show you people who are working on similar things that we get from Office 365. And so those are things that we're taking advantage of, not just the platform that Microsoft has, but the data that Microsoft has between what we get from Office 365 and LinkedIn together with Dynamics. So let's take a look at how we do that, bringing the data together. And so we've introduced this concept called the Common Data Service and a Common Data Model. And the Common Data Model starts with the data we pull from Dynamics. It gets extended with the data we get from Office. So think about the hiring app, and I've got an interview. That's a business object. That's part of Dynamics. For the 5 interviewers, the calendar appointment that is their interview slot, that lives in Office. What we're able to do now is actually tie those things together. So if I cancel that interview because I've hired somebody else, we can go right from Dynamics into Exchange and automatically cancel the calendar appointments. And so that ability to bring the data together, analyze it together, but also act on it together is an important evolution for us. We're doing the same thing with the data we bring in from LinkedIn, as well as the data we're bringing in from partners. So the whole Common Data Model's been designed to be extensible. And you've read about a number of very cool partnerships that we've introduced. We introduced a partnership with Dun & Bradstreet, so that if you wanted data, additional data on customers you dealt with, or vendors you dealt with, you can bring that in from D&B. We designed the extension to our data model together, made that part of the Common Data Model, and that's how the integration works. We're doing the same thing with Adobe. You'll hear from the Adobe team later this morning. But the whole connection between marketing and sales and the Adobe Experience Platform is all being done by extending together that Common Data Model and allowing the data to be brought together in this way. So we're going to take a look at some demos. And we're going to start by taking a look at the new talent piece. And this kind of expresses what we're trying to change in the software in the light of this idea of digital transformation. And if you know, this for me, we're not going to talk about how many years I've been in the industry, but let's just say 40 would be in the neighborhood. The applications we built for forever have been about recording what people did so somebody else could check on it or audit it. You did your work, When you finished your work, you got a prize, which was to do the right to do a transaction and tell the system what you had just shipped or what you had just made or what you had just consumed. And we're changing from that whole idea of our software living in this world of looking backwards and capturing things and letting me report on them, to let me use the data that I have, let me use intelligence, and let me use that to let me ask forward-looking questions, to make to empower my employees to ask better questions. So instead of just saying, what's the history of who's applied for this job, let me look at the signal I have and understand who might be the best candidate for us to hire, maybe based on the fact that we do well hiring out of where they come from. Or maybe there's certain attributes that we see in their background that fit a profile that suggests they're going to be successful here. And that's the change that we're really trying to drive through building new solutions for digital transformation. So with that, I'm going to bring up Ryan Darby Martin, and Ryan's going to show us a little bit of our new talent software. Thank you. Welcome, Darby. All right.
I'm supposed to give you water because I'm sure you're thirsty. And the beauty of leaving your PC on stage for 30 minutes unlocked is one quick second. There we go. Let's switch my user. Come on.
You're lucky you didn't get the new Cortana setup experience.
I don't know what it's doing. There we go. That looked better. Switch user. Come on.
You know we tried this like 6 times before. And
Here we go.
There we go. Okay.
It logged me into my profile. Cortana saw me. So thank you, Mike. So the idea of the demo today is we're actually going to first take a look at talent. And I'm going to be playing 2 different personas that we see here. The first is actually the recruiter that we're looking at, who is actually using LinkedIn Recruiter to actually look for a data scientist who's going to be hired by Microsoft. And then we'll switch to the attract part. So that's actually where we will go through the business process of having the interviews with this particular candidate, providing our feedback, and then transitioning into the onboarding experience, which Mike referenced, of how we would actually see a person joining our company and getting useful information as they go. So let's take a look at that first persona that I'm playing, which is Hilda in this example. And I am a recruiter here in LinkedIn. And on the left side, you can see that I've actually defined my query. So I have the access to this network, and I've decided that I'm looking for a data scientist or a research scientist or an artificial intelligence specialist. I'm also looking for someone in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So it pulls out through all applicable people within LinkedIn and actually says, for this particular query that you've defined and saved and, of course, can reuse, we see three candidates that are available here. And the one that's very interesting to me that stands out is actually Cameron. And so what we're able to do here as this recruiter is not export to Excel or enter it into a different formula, but actually just go in and say, let's save this to a project so that we can take Cameron through the actual business process we have in order to hire him if he's a correct candidate. So let's jump in. Here we are in Dynamics 365 for talent. And as I mentioned, we're in the Attract application. What we see here at the bottom in green is the business process that is guiding us through what we're supposed to do in each stage. So the first area is actually we can review the applications of all the candidates that have submitted. So embedded in Dynamics 365, we see Cameron's experience here, we see the education. For example, he obtained a bachelor's and a master's at the University of Washington. So my first impression is quite positive here, but of course our business has certain things that needs to be done from an assessment point of view and a screening point of view. Now, to fast forward in the demo, Cameron went through both of those. He never went to jail. He's okay to come work for us. So we'll actually go to the interview stage that we're looking at here. And this is where I think what Mike talked about of the connected graph is very important, because we're able to pull in the team that we want to interview. This is obviously a combination of Office 365 and Dynamics data. And we actually say, okay, these are the interviewers from Larissa to Raqqa that we want. And actually you want to keep these as one-on-one interviewers in this order, and we can invite the team. So again here, we are actually inviting them in Dynamics 365, but we're communicating with them in their natural experience through Office 365 as we look forward here. So jumping forward in that process, of course, but probably many of you know, hiring people, one of the most challenges is just finding the available time during the day to actually have that particular meeting. And so what we're going to do say is, okay, we'd actually like to have that interview today, and there might be people that actually might not physically be present, and typically you just have to go back into their Exchange and check if there's an out-of-office reply. We can now include an online meeting. So as we find this schedule for these particular people, what we're seeing is here is the communication with Office 365 and the resources that we've set up for the interviews. Now, as it returns the results to us at this point, it's going to provide the time slots that we actually have. So jumping forward into that process, what we see is we actually received 3 accepts and 1 decline. Now we have an option here, of course, is we could drag and drop the decline to a different particular date and see if they could have that physical meeting, or we could move forward in the process and it's intelligent enough to set up the Skype details for the meeting that's not going to be able to be taking place on site. So as we start to go forward here, for the people that are going, and I'll just put in my own office number and say this is a test, for example, we'll actually send out this interview and they will actually receive it, and then they will provide the feedback of Cameron that they have. So what we've done here is set up the meeting. Well, actually, sorry, we've looked at the applicant, we've set up the meetings, the interviews have taken place, and we've determined that Cameron is a successful resource that we want to onboard into our organization. Now, I mentioned earlier on that we were looking at data scientists. So within Dynamics 365 for Talent, we have a series of templates that are set up on the job roles that you're actually hiring into the organization. And this role that we're looking at is the data scientist role. So I don't have to sit here and create a custom or manual onboarding process. It pulls from the template in terms of the introduction, the activities, the context, and the resources that we want to share. And even before Cameron has joined our organization, he has access to our onboarding portal, which he can log in without having his domain authorized in any kind of way. He can log in and actually start to find out, okay, what is this set of activities that we want me to do? And for example, when joining Microsoft, you're part of a giving campaign and you see that there's a 100% company match if you're donating time or money, and all of these steps are organized. Now, as Mike also said, one of the very useful things I at least think is, as we look at the context that Cameron would be looking at prior to joining the organization, he can already see the team members he will be working with. He can see people that he's gone to school with, people he may have worked with in the past, and other people in the organization with his job title. So even before jumping in, he can start to reach out and maybe say, hey, well, I actually know Gary from a previous role. Let's connect. Let's discuss how things are going and move forward in the particular process. So with that being said, that was our first product demonstration.
Great. I do actually know Tete. And he hasn't had hair like that in like 15 years, but in any case. No, and the interesting thing here is there's a reinforcing cycle because as we share each of those contacts with the new employee or even while they're still a candidate, the first thing they're going to do is go check out their LinkedIn profile. So we can actually use the application to say, hey, by the way, I'm about to share this, and Mike, you don't have a LinkedIn profile, or Ryan, your LinkedIn profile is out of date. And so we can help drive our users to go make sure that they have LinkedIn profiles, that they're current, et cetera, and then that makes the experience better for everybody that's involved. So that's great. So we're going to go back to the slides for a couple of minutes and talk about what we just saw. And then Ryan will show us the next demo. But if we can switch back to the slides. Oh, we're there already. Yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So let's take a look at kind of what we just saw. In that experience, we took advantage of data that was from Office, from Dynamics, as well as from LinkedIn. And we brought all of that together and used it in a single combined way in order to drive a better experience. Which candidates should I target? LinkedIn helped us with that. Optimizing the way I did interviewing, combination of our core as well as the integration with Office. And then the intelligent onboarding process as well as it'll go further from there in order to let Cameron drive his career planning. So that's kind of the formula that we're using in each of these places. The next example that we're going to take a look at is on the sales side. And this is pretty exciting. This is a place where we've worked together again between what we do in Dynamics and what we have from LinkedIn. We've even gone sort of to the next important step, which is come up with a way to bring that to market together with our relationship sales offering. But it's the same idea. How do I use the data? How do I use intelligence so that I'm not just keeping track of my leads, keeping track of my pipeline, but saying, where should I be spending my time? How do I get a better introduction into this sales opportunity? And that's what Ryan's going to show us right now.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Mike. So this next demonstration, I'm actually also going to be playing several different personas. The first is of a business analyst working in Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, who's actually the bridge between the marketing qualified leads that we've been receiving and the exercises that the sales representatives are actually going to take in terms of prioritizing those leads and actually executing and driving them to a close. And the particular use case we're going to be looking at today is around the NBA. So Justin Gurney and how he went through a digital transformation project by himself to actually implement Dynamics 365. So as I mentioned here, what we're seeing is a dashboard in Dynamics 365 for sales, but it's actually powered by Customer Insights. So what we're looking here as a sales representative is the qualified leads that have been assigned to me and the lead source analysis. And then you may ask yourself, okay, very nice, a visualization. How did this actually come to be? And that's where Customer Insights takes a play. So what we're looking here is at the business analyst output. So the business analyst has been able to create a predictive model and actually take all of those qualified leads and assign them categories based on particular variables within that model. And the first area that probably stands out to you is here that we see buckets A, B, C, and D. So these are saying, okay, 76% of these leads qualify to be in bucket A, which is what we're telling the sales representatives. These are the most likely to close. These are the ones that you should, from a capacity planning point of view, take on first and exercise and drive. This prediction model is something that's created in Customer Insights, but one time by a business analyst, and of course can be fine-tuned, but it will also continue to run for all the marketing qualified leads that go throughout the entire year. So in this particular example, we see in the last 12 months, we've passed over 4,800 leads. We've actually qualified 662 of those leads, so we can see the qualification rates and the average days for those qualifying. And that's where we jump into the real business process of executing on those leads, which is how we take a look at Justin Gurney, as I mentioned. So here we are back in Dynamics 365 for sales, and we're looking at the business process that's going to support me as a sales representative to qualify, develop, propose, and close this. But within Dynamics for sales, we also show the Customer Insights information. Why is this a primary lead that I should be taking with the widgets coming out of Customer Insights? So we can see the lead score, the grade, and even the reasons why this score has actually been created. He's attended a seminar, there's been 6 phone calls, and of course, as I mentioned, it's a hot lead. So we really want to drive our efforts within here. Fast forwarding a couple weeks, let's say I'm a typical sales guy, which I have been in my life, and I spend a lot of time looking at my quota and how I'm going to achieve my bonus. So something may stand out to you here on this dashboard is that I'm behind. I'm behind $513,000 at this particular moment, which is going to hurt my bonus, going to hurt my vacation that I have.
That might hurt more than your bonus.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, so what we see here is actually if I go forward into Dynamics 365 and look at my opportunities, something all of us have seen before is a list of opportunities. We know there's a close date. We know there's a probability. We know there's an estimated revenue. We know we go in every week and explain to our sales manager that it's going to close. It really is. But what we're able to do with the power of the graph is actually pull in health and look at why is something either going well, why is something going bad, and what is the trend of that. So as I mentioned, we're busy here with the NBA. It's actually big enough in terms of deal size to fix my pipeline gap and have a positive bonus that I'm trying to receive. But the relationship health is fair at this particular moment. And what we're doing is we're aggregating the communications that are going on around this opportunity. We're seeing how many phone calls are made, how many meetings are taking place, are they responding to our emails? And as we aggregate that data against a set of KPIs, we can predict the trend of the health. Because if I'm phoning 5 times in a row and I only leave voicemails and I never receive a response, obviously that's not a very likely sign that they're going to sign the deal and close with me. So I really need to actually do something and jump into this particular record and try and change the communications that we've been having. So I jump into the opportunity in Dynamics 365, and again, as a sales representative, I'm guided by the business process. We are in the develop stage at this particular moment, and one thing that immediately jumps out to me here in the center of the screen is the relationship assistant. That's our agent that's helping us take a next best action throughout the process. And we see here that there's actually an email reminder that there's been no reply to the email that I sent Justin. Again, typically not a good sign if in 3 days you're communicating with someone and they're not responding to you. I at least haven't closed deals in that scenario. So I want to take action and see how can I try and find a different route to contact Justin rather than just another email or just another phone call. And that's where the power of your network comes into play. So what we're looking here is within Dynamics 365, we can actually jump in to the LinkedIn member profile and get all kinds of information about Justin. It could be, if I was going to be having a face-to-face meeting, that I have useful icebreakers, such as shared connections or the recent activity that Justin has actually taken on his social networks. But in this case, it's not true. I was struggling to get a response from Justin, so I want to use the power of my own network and see where the common connections lay with Justin at this moment. And one thing that stands out to me here is Stephen Kaplan. So that's a colleague of mine who works at LinkedIn, but via the Team Link capability, I can see that he has a connection with Justin, and because he's a colleague of mine, I feel comfortable reaching out to him and saying, can you help me with this particular stalled deal? So let's actually ask for an introduction from Stephen, and then we'll say, hey, I've got a stalled deal at the MBA, and I would like some help here, Stephen. So saying, have a stalled deal, need your help getting the following content in front of your connection, Justin Gurney. And then you may ask yourself, okay, what content are you actually talking about? And that's where Point Drive comes into play. So what we've done here is prepared a dossier within Point Drive of all different sets of contents. Now that could be, in this case, a PowerPoint presentation, it could be videos, any type of media you would be looking to expose. So in my case, I've prepared the content pack that I want to share, and it's as simple as creating the link, or actually capturing the link, and embedding this within the mail that I have to Stephen. So Stephen sends this email to Justin, and now I'm interested in, okay, how is the traction going? I know that he did it because I can obviously see the activity view and dynamics of that, but are people actually viewing the content that I have? So with Point Drive, we actually have the ability here to look at the dossier that you have and the views within that dossier. So I can actually see here this relationship sales overview presentation has been viewed 4 times, it's been looked at for this amount of time, and has actually been downloaded this number of times. So fast forwarding slightly here, Stephen really helped me change the deal, and I've actually received an email from Justin. And that email is saying, thank you for the presentation, we're excited about these new capabilities, can you get this proposal and the ball rolling? So I've actually changed the let's say, non-reactive sentiment that I had with my customer, and now I'm actually being asked to generate a quotation. And from within Dynamics, and this could also, of course, be done on your mobile device, I have all of the context through the app for Outlook, and I can jump in and create the quotation, win the deal, and that's why Justin is now a happy Dynamics 365 customer.
Awesome.
So, thank you.
That's great. Great. So kind of same pattern. We took a graph of data that connected information from Dynamics, from Office, from LinkedIn. We actually have machine learning running in both of those environments. So within LinkedIn, sort of running in order to let you suggest who your best contacts would be. Within Exchange, to look at all of those signals of what's being opened, what's being read, are things being forwarded, and then generate that health index. And that's what puts us in a position to sort of deliver a more proactive selling experience. The last one that we're going to look at is a customer service experience. And again, it's the same thing. Instead of waiting for all of the questions to come in and just spending my life looking at the system to say, gee, this is how big my backlog is, I better hire more service agents. How can we let the software help the experiences be better for the customers as well as more forward-looking? So let's go take a look at that, Ryan.
Yep. So thanks, Mike. So this particular demonstration is going to be between also 2 personas, or maybe 3 personas if you consider a bot a persona. So the idea here is that I am a consumer looking for car insurance on a website. Later on in the transition through sentiment analysis, we'll bring in a human agent who will take over the conversation from the bot that we're actually interacting with in a live fashion at this moment. So as I mentioned here, I'm a consumer looking for car insurance. I browse the website and I see the live chat feature that becomes available here. And immediately I get a first response from the bot, which is asking me, well, how can I help you today? So let's start with some very simple, Q&A. What can you do, bot? And as you see, the response is very rapid. They're available 24/7. Well, one of the things that really stands out to me here, which I should mention, is we're looking at a contact center. This can be, of course, customer service agents, sales representative agents, but they become available 24/7 for your organization in any language you would like. So you have an unlimited scale to your customers that you can actually be accessing here. So I'm kind of interested in, where is your company based? The bot tells me that they're in 52 different countries, so that's nice. Very simple Q&A. Of course, it should be able to handle that. Let's get a little more serious here and get to the point. I need insurance. So this is the first moment that it actually goes into Dynamics 365 and brings the product catalog in a very friendly fashion to me as a consumer on the website. So I may need automotive insurance. I could also be looking at property insurance or life insurance, but as I mentioned, I want automotive. So here we're going to say, okay, I can help you get automotive insurance, but I've been anonymous to this point. I've provided no form of ID whatsoever to get specific about the offer. So I am an existing customer, and it's going to ask me for my full name. So in this case, I'm playing the role of Lance Olson, and it will ask me for my PIN number that, of course, is coming out of Dynamics 365. So as I enter this PIN number, this is the moment that it actually goes, of course, back into Dynamics 365, looks at the 360-degree view of my profile, and says that they can actually provide me with a 10% multi-policy discount, and it recognizes that my daughter just turned 17 years old and trying to upsell me in this particular process. Again, the bot has done this all by itself. So in this case, I would like to see that.
When I turned 17, the agent told my father to kick me off the policy.
So
it's different.
The next part is, again, it needs to get more specific to actually generate a quotation for me. And of course, when you look at insuring cars, the type of car, the model, and the year really matter in this discussion. So it's asking, okay, what type of car would you like to insure? So I'm driving a sedan. At this particular moment, it's going to say, okay, what is the make of your car? Well, I happen to be driving a Ford at this particular moment. And lastly, it says the model and the year of what it's going to do. So it's got some specifics to generate the model, but you may remember that Mike mentioned cognitive services earlier.
So the other thing is, as soon as you identified yourself, the experience changed, and it brought up the picture. And it's all about trying to make it more personal, even though you're dealing with a bot, and just reinforcing that it's listening.
So what it's going to do here is actually ask me for a photo of the car. And then using the cognitive services is actually going to analyze the state of that car, which will affect the price that it's going to give me in terms of a quotation here. But there's two things in life I like to take pictures of: my family and my cars. So I'm not really paying attention at this moment. So as I say, yeah, I've got a photo of the car. It says, okay, can you upload that using the image selector here? So again, I'm kind of half looking around. I have a 17-year-old, but I also have a brand new baby who is Marley. And I accidentally click on the picture of Marley laying on my dog Maggie. And the bot is now actually analyzing that picture, and it says, hey, guess what? That's not a car. It's a baby sleeping on a dog. Can you please open the picture of the car, or upload the picture of the car? So as we do that,
it's super important to realize that's real.
Yeah.
The Microsoft Image Recognition Cognitive Services, and if you come into the Executive Briefing Center, you can stand in front of the camera, and it'll tell you all kinds of disturbing things about you, like your age or whether you're happy or not. But that's real, and it was available to the person building this solution from as simple as just adding a call to an API, right? And that's sort of part of the platform that is there to kind of make these things real. So.
Yeah, very true. So now I'll get a little more serious and upload the picture of the car. And of course, what it's doing now, as I mentioned earlier, is it's going to analyze this particular car. And again, from an emotional sentiment point of view, it's actually going to say something along the lines of, that looks good, nice purchase. And now it's going to tell me that it has enough information available to actually generate the quotation that I was looking for and why I was actually engaging with it. So I guess having a 17-year-old daughter is a similar experience to having Mike on my policy, because I have $316 per month. So I'm rather taken back by that price. So it's going to ask me what I actually think of that. And again here, sentiment analysis, it's a simple call to an API. We can actually say, no way, that's too expensive. And this is where the bot is intelligent enough to recognize that response and bring in the human agent, in this case Jane, into the conversation that we're having so that she can drive it forward. So let's look at the opposite side and see what Jane, who just got brought into that conversation, would be seeing. And for that, we return to Dynamics 365 for sales. In this particular example, we have the business process that's now at the proposed stage that the bot has actually followed. We see the transcript, including the funny picture, and so forth. But what I'd like to draw your attention to is with the center of the screen. The bot has recognized, based on my sentiment of response, that there's a 65% churn risk of me as a customer at this moment. But what it's also done is it's given the agent a recommendation. And that recommendation is based on the historical data in which it's saying if you provide a 15% discount, you're very likely to keep this person as a customer and drive it forward. And all of that information is also captured in the post that we see here. So this is an individual action that we've seen between a customer, a bot, and an agent. But we have a lot of data that is going around the world that's being collected in this sense. And how can we actually make use of this data? So switching a little bit here to the, let's say, business analyst view, I'm looking at a Power BI dashboard of what we just saw, plus all of the engagements from a worldwide perspective. So there's been 4,000 escalations today, the average customer satisfaction survey. I can even see things like the key topics of terms of conversations in the websites that churn into website themes. But something stood out to me as I looked at this dashboard, and that's Australia. You know, what's really going on in Australia? Why do we have a problem there? So let's actually drill in to this specific area within the dashboard and see why we have this problem. So as we drill in here, again, we're looking at it from a global point of view, but what we're able to do is say, you know, show me the problem in Australia. And as these keywords adapt here within the word cloud, something stands out to me. Our competitor, Contoso Insurance, and expensive. So I'm intrigued as a business analyst now to go look at our price point within the Australian market and see, can we actually be competitive? What changes do we need to make so we can turn this from negative, of course, into a positive? And with that being said, that's what we've done.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Yep.
It's great.
Thank you.
So I think once again we see how with data connection to the actual customer and intelligence, we're able to deliver better experience and in fact, a transformed experience. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is sort of that last mile. That, you know, we saw some great stuff, but in terms of getting solutions that exactly fit what the customer needs, we need more. And the first part of that is going to start with our looking at both AppSource, where the ISV solutions are, as well as our Power Suite, which is Power Apps, Power BI, and Flow. So we've had some great traction with AppSource, and there's over 2,600 apps in there from over 1,300 different ISVs. Omar's here all week, so if you have questions about what you need to do to get your solution there, please connect with Omar. But we're continuing to push our energy here. We're continuing to try to also raise the bar of what it means to be an app source so that customers can understand and build trust in solutions that they find there. We're going to get to the point that it doesn't get deployed in our cloud if it doesn't come from AppSource. So if you're not there yet, you want to really pay attention to this. And one of the things that we're starting to do is not only do we have the trials there, but one of the things we're starting to do is we're actually capturing customer feedback on the solution. And we're starting to build ratings. And when there are enough customers of something, those ratings will show. One of the other things that was also done about a month ago was not just the solutions in AppSource, but also service offerings. And so this is a really important part of our go-to-market in this new world, and it's an important asset for all of you. But sometimes, even with all the great ISVs, there's not an app for that. And that we really are dealing with that last thing that is super unique to a given business. And that's where the Power Platform comes in. It's a combination of Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow, all sitting on top of that common data service. And again, everything sort of starts with the data. With Power BI, you get to generate the insights. That's what, kind of what Ryan was looking at when I actually, okay, great, I've got all this data, but if I visualize it right, that's what made that problem in Australia pop. And so Power BI is an important part of the solution. Power Apps is the thing that lets me build with no code or low code something that looks at that insight and says, now I want to act on that. And if we notice a pattern that's repeated, and I can actually automate that action, that's what Flow's all about. And so we're seeing some really good results with this. I'm just going to talk quickly about one, and then and then we'll move to the next section. But we have a customer, Integrated Power Services. They service these giant motors. They've got a great business app. They've got Dynamics, and we're really happy with the results they're seeing with that. But here's what the process looks like for actually servicing the motor. Okay, so that when they get the technician to the place, they get the materials to the place, but when it's time to service the motor, it's on magnet boards and paper, and we see this everywhere. And not only is this just a miserable way to work, but at the end of the day, when they clean the board and throw out the paper, all that data goes away. And so we can do better than this. And what's really cool is a partner working with this customer and actually working really with the technicians who do the work with very, very little code built this app. IPS is so proud of this app. If you go to their website, you'll find this. We didn't tell them to put it there. They put it there. But this thing has replaced that board. This thing has replaced the paper that their technicians use to record their work, and then somebody has to rekey it. And this app connects back to their business app, connects back to that data platform, but gives them something that's much more modern, much more productive, really transforms the last mile of how they work. And it's a very professional app. The data still lives in our cloud. It's not living in Excel on somebody's desktop machine. And they've done this without having to write a lot of code, and in fact, just really letting the people who do the work directly influence how that application got built. So this is what that whole Power Platform is about. When we're going back to where we started, to develop the kind of solutions customers demand today, we need every bit of this picture. We need every layer of this picture. And Microsoft is the place that is the only company that's investing in every aspect of this. And really giving the customer the idea that my data will live in a place where it's managed from where it's actually stored all the way up through everything I do with it by one supplier software, one platform, one set of commitments around privacy and security. And we really think that puts us in a very different place competitively. Dynamics is absolutely the right place to start. One of the things I think from a partner point of view, I hope that you hear is it's not good enough anymore to be an ERP partner or a CRM partner. Be a Dynamics partner and be able to address all these things. Dynamics is the place you start. It's not where you finish. And so the ability to also understand and know how to work with Power BI, understand how to work with that Power Apps platform to complete that last mile, those are the ingredients of success in a market driven by customers looking for digital transformation. And so Dynamics may be the place you start, but it's just the beginning, and it's where all of the other assets that Microsoft brings to the table come in. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. We're going to roll a video, and then after that, Toby Bowers will come up and fill you in on sort of the next chapter in our go-to-market motion. So thank you very much.
Is increasingly becoming digital. The one need every business has is for more business process automation. They want to be able to connect these business processes end to end, create these systems of intelligence, systems of action.
Microsoft Dynamics being hosted in their cloud has now really given us the ability to streamline and focus on our core business processes. It gives us a really great platform to do what we need to do in our day job.
Gives us the ability to get the data and information anywhere, anytime. But what's more important for us is that we actually know more about our customers. We can serve them better through our engagement channels than we could ever do before.
What is digital transformation? It is, in fact, the fourth industrial revolution. It will change the way all businesses operate, the way they interact with their customers.
Sam McCormick are really excited how Dynamics 365 brings all the systems together, all the way from the customer to the sales interaction, helping us deliver an unprecedented level of field service.
All right. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us. So it was great to see some of the customer stories there in the video, the value that they're getting from the Dynamics 365 platform and all the great tech that Mike and Ryan just showed. Thank you. Also great to see our CEO, Satya, talk about not just the opportunity we have around Dynamics, but the broader strategic importance that Dynamics 365 portfolio brings to our Microsoft cloud value proposition. So thanks to Mike for painting that vision and really diving into the underlying technology vision and roadmap, and Ryan for showing us the latest and greatest features and functionality. I'm going to wrap us up just with a quick pass on how we're evolving our go-to-market strategy, how the market is responding to that, and then how we're enabling both our direct field sales force as well as our world-class partner ecosystem to take advantage of the opportunity that we have, which is significant in the business applications space. So when we talk to our customers, they're really asking us for solutions that meet them where they are. And I hope that many of you would agree with that statement. Whether it's a sales leader asking about a more sophisticated approach to relationship sales, which we just saw firsthand, or an operations leader looking to get more insights out of their data so that they can drive efficiencies in their business, customers are really looking for the best of both worlds. They're looking to maximize the investment that they've already made in their existing tools and processes, and then they're looking to take advantage of all of the latest and greatest that the technology landscape has to offer. Which is why we're really aligning our go-to-market strategy around these scenarios so that we can best serve, along with all of you, our customers in that total addressable market. So if we take a moment to look back, we've obviously been working on the evolution of this strategy for some time, but it's really amazing to think that it was just a year ago that we announced and made generally available Dynamics 365. And it's really been a big year since then. Of course, we announced some great strategic partnerships with our friend at Adobe, who's going to join us on stage in just a moment. We completed our acquisition of LinkedIn and began building that functionality into our sales, service, and talent applications, as you just saw firsthand. And then in July, we announced a raft of updates across our entire application portfolio, as well as releasing Dynamics 365 for talent and retail. And we're literally right in the middle of landing that fall release with all of these enhancements across our application portfolios, as you can see, and also evolving our approach into the modular applications, which you saw we just got started with talent. So it's been a busy year. There's been a lot going on. So how has the market responded to that? Thankfully, positively. Let's start with the analyst response. So our friends at Gartner have moved us into the leader box in both their BI and analytics quadrant, as well as their CRM and customer engagement space. Forrester did the same for Salesforce automation, and Nucleus moved us into the leader box when it comes to finance and operations and ERP, setting a forward-looking strategy and view, as well as enhanced usability and feature functionality. So we're definitely moving in the right direction, and we're seeing a great response there. From a press perspective, similarly moving in the right direction. You saw some of the quotes in the video and here on the screen. I won't belabor the point, but the positive feedback that we're getting from the media is essentially aligned to three areas. The first is how we're connecting lightweight applications to existing systems, as Mike talked about to some extent. The second is how we're leveraging existing systems to generate data to provide greater insights from an advanced analytics perspective. And again, we saw that firsthand. And then the third one is the extensibility of the platform, bringing that together with our, again, leading partner ecosystem, both from an application perspective and services perspective that provides a unique value proposition. So some great feedback from a media perspective. And then arguably most important, the customer response has been great as well. Since we launched our Dynamics 365 portfolio, our growth in the cloud has jumped to 67% year over year. We're seeing twice the number of $1 million plus deals, and over 80% of our enterprise customers are choosing Dynamics 365 in the cloud. So we're seeing a ton of great wins across that customer base. Our win list and our logo sheet is really growing, and it's not just great enterprise brands like you see here with Ford and Heineken and HSBC, but really a range of customers across all industries and really from all corners of the globe. We're seeing some incredible wins. I wanted to highlight just a couple quickly. The first is with Visa. Visa is a great win for two reasons. Up until we were able to secure the account, they were a wall-to-wall Salesforce organization. But specifically, the division of Visa that chose Dynamics 365 for customer service, what they call their VCSA division, probably the most revenue-critical part of their company and deals directly with their banking partners. So a great win there that we had to get right, and we really did. A second win I'd like to talk about is Dolce & Gabbana. For those of you who don't know, leader in the high-end retail and luxury goods segment. But an interesting business, really verticalized, going all the way from sales down to the sourcing of raw materials for their goods. And so they chose to deploy Dynamics 365 across more than 200 of their retail locations, but are really leveraging the power of the full suite to look at the depth and breadth of its capabilities, not just from a sales perspective, but deep into their resource planning and product planning as well. So the reason I highlight those two wins is they're specifically related to the shift in strategy that we're landing from a go-to-market perspective. We're moving away from focusing on static applications, heavy, long, expensive lift and shift opportunities going head-to-head with our competitors, and towards more lightweight, intelligent line of business applications, and a surround strategy for our customers to really provide that broader Microsoft value proposition with our cloud offerings, which again you saw firsthand as we tie together not just Dynamics 365, but the full portfolio, including Office 365, LinkedIn, and Azure, for both new and existing customers. So this is the strategy that we're working hard to land across our business. I wanted to just take a moment to talk a little bit how we're doing that with our mainstream field sales force, given this is a partner audience, and I want to articulate the investments that we're making there to enable our mainstream sellers to have the conversations around business applications and Dynamics. So obviously we've got a lot going on across all the different applications that we showcase today, but this is where we're getting started. So literally with every single one of our account teams, from enterprise down to small and medium business, we're talking about 5 core sales plays: sales, customer service, field service, finance operations, and talent. And we're building content and tools and programs to enable them to go out and have the conversations with every single one of their customers, given their accountability and how we've incentivized them to do so. So the important thing here, these are conversation starters. These are door openers. This is not meant to conflict or contrast with the great work that our partner ecosystem does. It's meant to unlock an opportunity to engage our mainstream field sales force. And Ron and his team really talked about the way that we've set up to do that internally with all the different resources across our partner organization. But we want our sellers to be having conversations with the sales leaders in their teams or in their customers around the great relationship selling capabilities that we have within our platform, bringing together, again, Dynamics, Office 365, and LinkedIn, and offering that's half the price of the competition, engaging an opportunity there and engaging a partner to further qualify and engage. Talking to business development BDMs in their accounts who are thinking about evolving their approach when it comes to customer service. Taking a more advanced approach with threaded intelligence, meeting their customers where they are across all channels so that they can better serve them. And again, we just saw a great example of that with the bot demo. Field service as well, so moving from being reactive to proactive and even predictive in some cases, really taking advantage of the capabilities of Dynamics 365 for field service with some of our advanced capabilities in Azure. Specifically around artificial intelligence, Azure machine learning, and IoT, we really have a unique value proposition in this space. And talent, again, I'm moving through these quickly because we saw these demonstrations firsthand, and so hopefully you guys got a good sense of what we can do from a product perspective. But again, our account teams having conversations with the HR directors or the HCM managers within their accounts about that solution that doesn't just help them attract and recruit the right candidates, but once they're hired, actually help them onboard and engage with the people within their organization and our unique perspective there. And then lastly, those COOs, those CFOs who are always, of course, looking to get the most value out of the existing investments that they've made in their ERP systems, whether that's getting greater insights from the data so that they can drive greater efficiency in their business, or ways that they can extend and expand to the cloud to further differentiate against their competitors. We really feel we have a unique position there with our hybrid approach in this space. So that was a really quick pass around how we're enabling our field, our direct sales force, to have the conversation. At the same time, we're going to continue to enable and support our partner ecosystem, both through our own first-party events and vehicles and digital properties, but also through the community. Great events like this that Joe and Christy put on that we can drive product and technical readiness and support from a subject matter expertise. So we'll continue to support with sales and technical readiness. We'll continue to support with new business models and new programs. The ISV Cloud Embed program, which is now open for applications to help you monetize your IP on top of the platform in a different way, with heavily discounted SKUs for our embedded SKUs. From a marketing perspective, we always build a ton of great marketing content for you to take advantage of on our partner properties, but also land investments in the field. I think you saw Ron and Gretchen and the team get up and talk a little bit last night about how we can go to market together and potential opportunities to engage here in the US or around the world within that new go-to-market structure in our One Commercial Partner organization. Obviously, from an incentives perspective, we'll continue to make sure that all of our partners are incentivized and continuing to drive the business, but with a discrete focus on landing those more strategic and advanced cloud offerings, as well as customer acquisition. And then lead generation. I won't talk to it again because Mike did a great job, but AppSource as our marketplace, we want that to be literally a fountain of leads for all of you, not just with the apps that are being built on top of the platform, but the new consulting services, which we've just made available from our partners on that platform as well, which have really taken off in a very short period of time. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, I highly encourage you to do so. And then lastly, from a solution map perspective, again, Ron and team would have talked about this, but identifying the right partners around the globe, both from a horizontal perspective and from a vertical perspective. We always want to build our platform to 80%, but then that last 20% be taken by our ISV partners to really provide that last mile of value. So we're continuing to land those solution maps around the world. So that was a very quick pass. I wanted to get us back on time a little bit, but I wanted to talk about that evolved go-to-market approach. I'm going to be here for the next couple of days. I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible. I wanted to end with the way that Mike started, which is basically by thanking all of you, thanking our partners here in the room. I wanted to again thank the team at eXtreme for the opportunity to participate in their event. I am new to the Dynamics business at Microsoft, but I'm not new to the partner business nor community engagement, and I really recognize the value that a third-party community brings to help connect partners to partners and ultimately partners to customers. There's been a lot of change that we've talked through today as far as our roadmap, our strategy, our sales approach, but I can really tell you that the one thing that hasn't changed at Microsoft is the fact that we always have been and we always will continue to be a partner-led company. So we very much look forward to continuing to take advantage of this opportunity with all of you. So thank you for that. I did want to throw up the sponsor slide and again just reinforce the importance of bringing this community together. And I am actually going to hand it over to Chris from Adobe, who's going to talk about his perspective on the partnership opportunity. But I think we have a quick video to run through first. So thank you very much.
Everybody on the floor, this is a robbery! Don't move! Get down now! Don't move! Get down and stay down! You move! Money! Money! Open the phone!
Mr. Johnson? Eric Johnson?
How does she know your name? I don't know.
Your mobile app pinged us when you walked in. Looks like you were on our website and thinking about buying a house.
You moving out, man? I need my space.
You may think you can't afford a new home, but we have some amazing new rates. I can text them to you.
Oh, those are fantastic.
And Mr. Davis?
Yeah, it's me.
Did you click on one of our emails about consolidating your student loans?
Maybe.
We can help you with that too.
Hey, what are you doing? This is a robbery, remember? We gotta go! Come on! Can I lock those rates in on the app?
Well, of course you can, sugar.
Thanks.
I think that video does a great job of explaining to people what Adobe is about, and it's about creating compelling experiences for our customers, and it's enabling our clients to reach their customers in a more effective way than ever before. So I'm Chris Savoy. I'm the Director of Channel Sales for Microsoft's Community Partner Program. My team is responsible for the recruitment, the development, and the sales engagement with our partner community. And I also have responsibility for the ecosystem that we share with Microsoft. So personally speaking, I'm excited to be here today. Meeting with Dynamics partners has been a priority for us. We think about sort of how we engage partners with Microsoft in a couple of different ways. The first is sort of our global SI partners that have both an Adobe practice and a Microsoft practice, and bringing those practices together to create solutions. And the second is working with the Dynamics channel to get them integrated into the Adobe Solution Partner Program so we can work with you as well on driving new opportunities with your clients. So again, thrilled to be here. And a little bit of context for me is before joining Adobe, I spent 21 years at Microsoft. So it's really great to be back working in the ecosystem again. And I have a little bit of context on partnering and hope we can bring that to Adobe to make it easier for you to work with us and Microsoft as a partnership. But our partnership was founded on a couple of pillars. The first being creating a very powerful partnership around both companies' intelligent clouds. Adobe on our Experience Cloud, and Microsoft around Azure and Dynamics 365, and everything that we're doing as a partnership to integrate those platforms, and also staying singularly focused on driving exceptional experiences for our clients, which I think, maybe you saw an example of in that video. But we have a long-term vision between our two companies, and that's to create a very powerful platform that enables people in an empowered digital world to create experiences together. I would say first, too, as well, we're trying to bridge the world between the CMO and the CIO. The marketer that's focused on the content and the delivery of the content, and the CIO that's focused in on the data and creating systems for their clients. And then also, it's about the experience that we want to enable between sales and marketing. And creating a connected experience across both, opportunities. And then lastly, it's about delivering those experiences to help companies create powerful brand messages back to their customers. But I want to talk a little bit today about, for those of you that don't know a lot about Adobe, is about what we do, how we're positioned in the market. And then we have a couple of breakout sessions later in the next few days to kind of drill into this. But, our tagline really is all about changing the world through digital experiences, and creating these end-to-end experiences all the way from creative through our Creative Cloud products, Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, all these products that you may be familiar with on the creative side, and then combining that with the marketing technologies that we make to create this end-to-end solution that allows for better digital experiences across the enterprise. So here's a little bit about our offering. The first is, you may know, many of you may have subscriptions already to the Creative Cloud or our Document Cloud products as individuals. But in the enterprise, what we focus on is a subscription model for the Creative Cloud for Enterprise, which includes all the creative technologies that we have. We also have the Document Cloud, which is Adobe Document Cloud, the Adobe Acrobat Reader, as many of you know, and then Adobe Sign for the document management functionality. On the Experience Cloud side, that's actually made up of 3 unique clouds, the first being the Marketing Cloud, for Adobe Experience Manager, which is content management, website development. The next is Adobe Campaign, which has very tight integrations with Dynamics 365, which we'll talk about today. Adobe Target for personalization. Then we move into the Analytics Cloud, which is the industry lead in web analytics and audience segmentation. And then lastly, the Advertising Cloud that focuses on solutions for the advertiser. And then all of this is built on a core services platform that integrates all of these technologies together. And that's really the value proposition, I think, for an integrated suite like we're selling in the market, is that these applications work together. share information, track users, and allow that end-to-end marketing view across the ecosystem that a client may have with their customer. So that's a little about what we do. You know, this is a view of where we think we are positioned in the market, in the upper leader quadrant in all of these individual solutions. And I think this is a great commercial for Adobe. But if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, this is really where we talk about our position in the cloud space. And when aligned with Microsoft, their position in the market around Dynamics 365 and specifically CRM, and our marketing technology, it's a great partnership. And you know, I'm sure you guys follow the industry news. I think 2 weeks ago, Marketo and Google made an announcement around their platforms. Just yesterday, there was an announcement with Salesforce and Google. So I think it's sort of a compliment, right, that our partners in Microsoft, you know, are being followed by these other companies. I mean, you know that you're making a dent in the market and when your competitors start to emulate what you're doing. I think the benefit that we have, though, is that we're not trying to cobble together marketing solutions from dissimilar companies. We have the Adobe Marketing Cloud and the Microsoft Dynamics 365, both leaders in both platforms that we're combining to create a really powerful solution across the board. So we're excited about our partnership with Microsoft. We're still learning. We're learning how to engage with one another, and we're getting better. But these are the 4 solutions that we have with Microsoft. The first is our integration with Dynamics 365 around Adobe Campaign for end-to-end sales and marketing. I think this week we also made an announcement around Adobe Experience Manager integration with Dynamics 365. And this is a great solution. Like, for example, if you're on an Adobe Experience Manager website, you start filling in your information, the information will auto-populate now directly from Dynamics, you know, to make that user experience much simpler and you know, allow for that information sharing to happen much easier. We have Adobe Analytics for data insights, which is Adobe Analytics and Power BI for data visualization. So Power BI sits on top of Adobe Analytics for that dashboarding and visualization capability. And then lastly, we announced that Adobe Sign is now the preferred digital signature solution for the Microsoft application. So this is just the first, you know, few integrations that we have coming. I'd also comment that, you know, that Microsoft and Adobe have another sort of platform commitment to one another, and that Adobe has committed over $400 million in Azure revenue as we migrate our platform to Azure, which is happening now. In the December timeframe, many of our applications will now default to Azure when a customer buys them in a SaaS model. So we see lots of opportunity to drive Azure consumption for Microsoft as an ISV. And here's the proof of our success. You know, we've had the partnership now for a little over a year. These are some of the logos that we've won. The one I'd like to call to your attention, though, is Avianca Airlines, which we won last, I think it was about a month ago. And the interesting thing about this client is that this was an opportunity that Microsoft brought in Adobe. They were competing heavily against Salesforce, and we helped come in and complete the vision around the sales and marketing integration, and ultimately ended up winning this business because the customer believed in our long-term vision together as a partnership. So great example of how our teams work together, you know, to win a very significant opportunity for both of our teams. So I'd like to talk a little about, you know, what it is we'd like you to do and how we'd like to work with you better. The first is we'd love to have you join the Adobe Solution Partner Program. Our community program is free. You go up, you sign up on our website. We vet you with some of our partner people, and then some of the people on my team will be assigned to you as a partner. We'll help you get onboarded, understand how to work with Adobe. And, you know, by the way, just because you sign up to our program doesn't necessarily mean that we expect you to develop Adobe capabilities and deep skills. What we'd love to do is have you work with Adobe Global Services or work with our other partners. You know, whatever combination of partnership you would like to have with us, we'd like to have with you, and we'll sort that out together and do what makes sense for the Adobe, Microsoft, Microsoft and Dynamics partner community, but we'd love to explore that relationship with you. Again, work with your Microsoft Partner Manager if you have one to learn more about the opportunity around our partnership. Look at our enablement options on our site. There's a ton of online training up there available to you. And we have partner solution consultants that can work with you one-on-one to learn more about our platform. And I would say, too, what's really great opportunity is to work with our partner teams and the Microsoft partner teams when you have an opportunity. There's no better way to learn how to work together than on a deal. And we'd love to have that conversation with you and share ideas about how to go about customer pursuits. And then we just rolled out the Adobe and Microsoft kind of technology demo to 40 MTCs around the country, around the globe, actually. So we'd love to have you bring your clients into the MTCs where we can actually show them the technology at work. So with that, again, I'd just like to thank you all. Again, I have a breakout session this afternoon where we're going to talk about the partner opportunity with Adobe and Microsoft. And then tomorrow morning, we have one of our technical teams here to talk about the product integrations, show you the product at work, and really help you understand where these products are positioned in the market. And talk about where Adobe Campaign specifically presents an opportunity for our partner community. So with that, thank you very much, and look forward to talking with you later. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, now I have the pleasure of introducing another integral product that's part of the Dynamics 365 product repertoire. Click Dimensions has been an integral part of Dynamics 365 CRM for many, many years and has provided great solutions to many, many customers across the globe. They've also been a staunch supporter of Extreme, was CRM and now 365 since the very beginning. And I believe that's because they early on recognized the importance and need to work with the partner community. And they continue to demonstrate that each and every day, not only through their commitment to community events like this, but also in the way that they support their customers and their partners. They are in many deals with partners, driving a number of opportunities. And I, as a Click Dimensions user, can attest to their after customer support. When you need the help, they're there to help you out at any moment of the time. So with that, what I would like to do is show a brief video and then invite the CEO, Mike Dickerson, up to the stage to tell us more.
One of the things that we love about Click Dimensions is our ability to show this solution to our customers, and our customers don't even realize that they're looking at a separate application. It has a look and feel that's very similar to CRM, and to our customer and end users especially, this is pretty important to them. It's made an impact on our organization, Hitachi, because we're able to stay very, very competitive with the other marketing platforms that are out there. Because we can come in and offer our customers a single platform that's built on the Dynamics platform that has the same look and feel as the Dynamics platform, and still offer all of that marketing automation functionality that they're looking for, and maintain that 360-degree view of the customer, all within the same application, has been huge for us. And it's really enabled us to make marketing a real part of any CRM journey that our customers are about to embark on.
Okay. Christy, thank you, and Joe, thank you for allowing us the chance to come talk today and continue the conversation. As you said, one of the things that's most important about Click Dimensions is that we recognize that our business is dependent on you guys, on our partner community. So for those of you who don't know Click Dimensions, our mission is to make Microsoft technology work for marketers who are trying to create really great experiences. That's all we do. We only live in the Dynamics community, and we focus exclusively on marketing. A bit about the company. We've been doing this for almost 7 years now. We have over 3,300 customers in 61 countries around the world. I think we're the largest single dedicated Dynamics ISV in the world. And I think over the past 12 months, our sales teams have helped partners like you guys win over 1,000 deals. I think we've done them with about 600 customers. And what really differentiates us, I think, as Christy said, is that we have deep expertise not only in digital marketing, but also in Microsoft Dynamics, and that's really key. But for those of you who do know us, I actually want to take a moment, and my real message to you guys is thank you. We would not have had the success that we've had over the past years without those relationships and without the trust that we've had from you guys. And I'm a relatively newcomer to the party. I joined as CEO about 9 months ago, and I very quickly learned the importance and the power of the hundreds, if not thousands, of relationships that are formed at an individual level between our sales teams around the globe. And the trust really matters. When you're working on a deal, you want a partner who says the right thing and who knows how to play with you during the sales process and after the sales process. So I've learned just how important those relationships are. And it's made ClickDimensions a really special company, and I'm honored to be part of ClickDimensions. It's also a fantastic time to be in the Dynamics ecosystem. I think we've heard today just some of the exciting things that are going on in the platform sort of side of the business. I read an article last week that talked about how by 2020, over 70% of the buying decisions that B2B companies make will be determined by personalized digital experiences. The rest will come from direct selling or events, things like that. But 70% of the purchase will be driven by personalized digital experiences. And the way to create great digital experiences is by having access to data. And so any of us who are in this Dynamics ecosystem have a leg up on everybody else because we have access to that Office graph, to the billion-plus Office 365 users. And now we have access to the data from the world's largest professional network in LinkedIn. And that's the stuff that really will help us be successful. But that change that will come from driving those digital experiences won't be easy for our customers. When the buying process changes, the sales process is going to change, and that means differences in the way they organize their sales force, their marketing force, their technology, all of that kind of stuff. And it's not easy to do on their own, and they're going to need some help, and that's where the big revenue opportunities are for us. And it's a big transformation. Transformation, I think, as Christy said earlier, is not an easy thing, but that's where the opportunity is. So when I talk about transformation, we've heard this morning about a lot of the transformation at Microsoft, and we heard yesterday. I mean, Microsoft is not the same company that it was before Satya Nadella. This new commercial model, the one commercial partner, that's a big deal. And we're all going to go through some tuning together as we go through that journey with Microsoft. There's also a lot of change in the Dynamics ecosystem, as you guys know very well, and some changes that are particularly relevant to us. As we get ready for next year, the launch of the Microsoft marketing app, that means some changes for us. And I have people come and talk to us and say, well, Microsoft's going to be launching a marketing app. What does that mean for ClickDimensions? And my simple answer is it's great, and we embrace it. And I'll tell you why. I was talking with Chris Savoy from Adobe the other day, and I was saying, whenever people talk about marketing in the Dynamics ecosystem, it helps us all. A rising tide lifts all boats. When Adobe came into the market and put a lot of splash around all of the great stuff that you saw that they can do, especially in the B2C world, it really helped us. It shone a spotlight on marketing, and our pipeline went up. And we see the same thing happening with the Microsoft marketing app. But what we also see, and this is what's really exciting to us, is Dynamics is moving from a first-party application to a platform. And so think about this. If our mission in life is to make Microsoft technology actually work for marketers who are not always the most technologically savvy, this is just a great opportunity for us to innovate our product and our services on top of a great platform. And I think over the course of time, you'll see us do that, and that means even including things in our offering that leverage the Microsoft platform for features that maybe are part of our portfolio today. So I think as part of this transformation, there's a lot of opportunity for us in this room whether it's to increase our value to the customer with what we do, or to create new revenues as people go through the transformation. And I want to talk a little bit about some specifics that I think are relevant to you guys, and we'll give you a little bit of a sign of where we're going in the future. When we've gone out to look at how our customers are performing, we see that the real issue isn't the tools they have. Yes, it's good to have nice tools, but the biggest problem that they have is getting results. They need help getting more revenues, getting more pipeline, lowering their cost of acquisition. And just looking around at the market, if you see some of the things that Gartner has said, 50% of the people that buy marketing technology are not getting the value out of it. And why is that? Well, there's a skills gap in how to use this stuff. I think this Gartner had a survey that said 40% of the marketers don't have the resources internally to actually use all the technology that they have. And it's no wonder. We see about 16 different applications that people have to use to orchestrate a digital program, from SEO to SEM to segmentation to social to email marketing to marketing automation. All of this kind of stuff has to be woven together. And by the way, you have to have fresh digital content to make all of that stuff work. This is not simple for companies that maybe only have 3 to 5 people in their marketing department to begin with. So this opens a really great opportunity for all of us to solve that need. To not just give them the tools, but to actually create services, recurring revenue, managed marketing services around that. So one of the things you're going to see Click Dimensions do in 2018 is we are incubating a digital agency. We have a project called Click Digital, and we're building a little digital agency for a couple of reasons. One, to help our customers actually use all this great Microsoft technology, ours, and down the road, maybe some other things that Dynamics team creates. But we're also doing that as a lab to help our partners who want to invest in building new revenue streams around managed marketing services to do that. So we've got a couple of partners who are working with us on this pilot offering, and we're looking for 1 or 2 more. So please come by and talk to us about that, because we think that there's a huge opportunity. Our research shows that people spend 6 to 10 times more on services than they do on the marketing technology. But it's a very different skill set from implementing Dynamics and sort of getting a project up and running the marketing program ongoing. But we'd love to talk to you about that. So we look at this event as an opportunity to continue a conversation that we started almost 7 years ago. And we'd love to have you come talk to us either at our booth or around, talk to us about your thoughts around support offerings that we can work on with you to help drive more revenues, or our managed marketing services, or our social engagement app, or anything that you need to help you close deals in Q4. We're really especially interested in that. So come visit us at our booth, come see us at a couple of the sessions that we've got going. And again, for those of you who have been our partners for many years, thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, that's the first segment of our keynote morning. Thanks for your great time and attention. I know it was a little long, but I think you got a lot of great information. We are going to go to a break right now. It's going to be about a 30-minute break. While you're out there, you can have a snack and a cup of coffee, but also please stop by what we're calling our ISV snapshots. It's in the exhibit hall. There's a little stage with a microphone, and they're going to be giving you kind of just a quick overview and snapshot of their solutions. So while you're having something to eat and a cup of coffee, why don't you stop by and take a look at their products. These are the 3 that are happening this week, and we'll see you back in here in 30 minutes. Sid Mohaseb is going to give us some great insight. Thank you.